Welcome to Oz Talk. We are live on the International Wizard of Oz Club's Facebook page and YouTube channel, and we are thrilled to have you join us today. We've got a special guest, and we're also going to be talking about some exciting things. Of course, we cannot avoid talking about Wicked Part 1 and all of the new releases, the teases, and the leaks. We're going to be joined by our special guest, Laura Butler. She's at Miss_Ruby_Slippers on Instagram. I like to think of her as the Tori Calamita or Follow the Yellow Brick Girl of the UK. And we're also going to be talking about some new merch and some other exciting things that we've got to announce, some news and things. So without further ado, let's welcome everyone to the show. Hello, you can all unmute.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi.
You okay?
It's so good to see everybody. And I mean, it's been busy in Oz. It's been a while since we've been able to be here. And let's first start by welcoming our friend Laura Butler, who I'd like to tell you a little bit about. Laura Butler lives in Northampton, United Kingdom, and is a coffee barista by day and Oz historian by all other times. She's a fan of all things vintage and 40s and 50s style, and her heart belongs to the MGM OG strawman, Ray Bolger. Let's welcome Laura Butler to the show.
Hi. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Welcome. And yes to the Ray Bolger.
Yes, I knew you'd say that.
Laura, we've been friends on social media for quite a while now and kind of adoring each other. We have a lot in common. You have a lot in common with all of us, but I think one thing that you and I specifically have in common is we both got Cairn Terriers during the pandemic.
Same
and
time.
my Toto, right? My Toto and your, actually you got yours, you got Ozzy just before the pandemic
Just a few months before, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and here I have some cute pictures of you. This is you and Ozzy.
Aww.
My little baby.
So adorable.
Ozzy.
And I love that you are putting the international in the International Wizard of Oz Club because, of course, Oz Talk is brought to you by the Oz Club. Since 1957, the International Wizard of Oz Club has been bringing fans together. Head on over to ozclub.org to join today. So Laura, I just am curious, let's just start with a little bit about you, and can you share with us how you became an Oz fan and, what's your Oz backstory?
So I don't really know how old I was. I mean, my story is pretty similar to Tori's, I think. So I used to stay at my grandparents' house every weekend. And on a Friday night, I think my granna's was given I think it was the 50th anniversary VHS. And they put that on for me. And basically, ever since then, I've been addicted. I do still have it with me. I know Tori does too, because I see her video the other day. But I love it so much. It's really worn now. But it's probably one of the most important things in my collection. But yeah, that's really how it started. My earliest memory of the Wizard of Oz is definitely the Scarecrow. I remember the next morning winding it back to the Busby Berkeley extra dance scene with Ray Bolger. So yeah, that's how it really started.
And loving the movie, then did you become a collector then? Like I know with Tori or some of us, we were kids at the time, so we were bought gifts, right? Zoe too. We were bought Oz things as gifts. We weren't earners at the time, right? So do you remember the first Oz gift you received that sparked your collection?
I do. I think I was around 7 years old because in the UK back then we didn't really have anything Wizard of Oz. It was mainly like Alice in Wonderland and things like that. But my grandpa's went to New York. I'm sure I was about 7, and he bought me this one. Yeah, so that's the oldest ornament that I've had. Sorry, it's a bit dusty. That's the oldest ornament that I've got, and that really started it off. I think we went to America a little while later, and I found loads of other bits, but we don't really have much in the UK, like merch-wise. But that was the very first ornament that I received.
Yeah, I know Zoe and Tori have some questions for you too, but I just want to walk through a couple of pictures that I prepared in advance. And I just love to see here some collectibles that you have, some things familiar. Because I like that you have a nice mix of all things Oz. You like the Wizard of Oz, you like Wicked, you like, are you a fan also of Return to Oz and the Wiz?
Yeah, I love Return to Oz. The Wiz, for confession, the Wiz I've only seen like once, so I'm not, I don't know it very well, but
I don't know, has it ever toured or anything in the UK? I don't think it has.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, I
here's a
love
bit
the
of
princess.
your scarecrow love. I see this a bit of your wedding there as well. Another shot I love from your wedding we'll see in a bit with your ruby slippers. But I also see in the background here, and here's what I wanted to ask you. I noticed the China girl. I'm a big fan of Great and Powerful. Tori and Zoe, not so much. Where do you fall on that issue? Oh,
Down.
really?
Yeah. It's not
I had such hope since you had the collectible, but you know it's fair to have the collectible and hate the film. So
well,
no.
that was actually in the Wizard of Oz Museum in Florida.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's not for me. I think for me it was the cast. I feel like the whole casting was just wrong for me personally, but
fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair. I mean, that is a very popular opinion. I am one man alone on an island, and full disclosure, I mean, you all know me and you know how starstruck I am and how that inspired me to be in the career that I'm in. And I may still be completely unable to disconnect the experience I had meeting the cast, working at the premiere and the rest of it, you know, and maybe someday I'll get some insight into that and watch the movie in a different way. But still, I still watch every second of it and really enjoy it. And that's my truth for now anyway. I reserve the right to hate it in the future. We saw Ozzy. I wanted to ask you about this. We love your rubies. This is a sweater I hadn't seen before. And then who's this little Dorothy on the left here?
So that is, have you heard of Jellycat?
Yeah.
So yes, it's a Jellycat. I actually found it in a vintage store. I'll quickly get it because it turns like inside out.
Cute. I just love the Toto, and of course the spiral yellow brick road is adorable. Oh wait, we have to see. Stand up again. Can we see your dress today?
Woo!
I've had that for quite a long time. yeah. I love the handmade. I'm always on the hunt for things like that. But this one, so it turns inside out into a witch.
Oh, is that cute? So it's Zoe on top and Tori on the bottom.
So it's really cool.
Yes.
Little vintage find.
That is cool. We have to check out your 30th birthday cake because you did some real justice there.
I do still have the toppings for that.
Yeah, you do. And then Christmas time, of course, we see some of your Oz collection, your Oz tree, the Wicked Witch of the East underneath the tree. I think it's magnificent. You have this piece too. Right?
I've had that for quite a long time. I think I've had that for like 10 years now. I think it's the Corgi one.
It's really cool. Does anybody else have that, Tori?
No, but I just saw it on eBay the other day. They're still out there, but they're definitely rare with the display.
Mm-hmm. And then again, going along with the all things Oz theme, you have this piece, which I know will impress Zoe and Tori as well.
Yeah, that one's pretty new. I've had that one a couple of weeks, but I've got it just here. But it's really cool. Tori, you've got that one as well, haven't you?
I sure do.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's so cool. I like the vintage.
And another friend, our friend Tiffany Sutton, who's at Follow the Yellow Brick Girl. She does such great modeling work professionally with some of these brands. But I know you and Tori also like to get out and work with Loungefly and other things. This is one of my favorite shots of you with the Loungefly bag. And tell us about the custom Wizard of Oz stone there.
So I have these here. These were given to me on my hen do as a present. I think that they're hand painted. I'll show you them quickly. There's the lion. I think they were from, I wrote down, I think she's on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
I think Rocks and Pebbles Creations by Cheryl, I think she's called. Okay,
so yeah. So had she made them and you saw them and bought them, or did you ask
They're
them?
A gift. Yeah, so they were given to me on my hen party. But people come around the house and they think they're actually like for use. Like for coasters, and they put their drinks on top of them, and I just sit there like staring at them like this.
Yeah, that's when we put them in a glass case, Laura. Those are so cool. And of course, you're saying hen party, right? That's the British way of saying like bachelorette.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was waiting and I wasn't.
And then lastly, before I turn it over, this we have to show. This is mad amazing. It's you at your wedding where I know Tori had ruby slippers. Zoe, did you have ruby slippers at your wedding?
No, I had a white version of my Wicked Witch boots on.
There you go. So
Some
you
of
had
them.
your
Not
Aussie,
like
Aussie footwear, always a must. But check out your rubies. This is why you are at Miss Ruby Slippers on Instagram, because I feel like you could rival Tiffany Sutton here with your collection. How many pair do you have, and which is your favorite?
I don't actually know how many. I definitely love the Icon slippers, the collectible ones.
Yeah.
I like my Doc Martin ones as well. And
Yeah,
the ones I
those
had
are
for the wedding, I had like 2 irregular choice ones, you know, the flashy ones. But I don't think I have as many as Tiffany.
very, very cool.
Definitely.
Amazing. Yeah. All right, Zoe.
You know, one of the things we hear a lot from our friends overseas, especially in like the UK and Ireland, that they can't find collectibles. So I was wondering, as an Oz fan based in the UK, what do you recommend? What are some tips and tricks you can give our friends that are also in the UK and Ireland and other European countries? How can they find Oz things and get them delivered without spending their entire life savings?
I've got to admit, it is really difficult. There's a lot of my watch list on eBay is full just because everything is so expensive. It's not necessarily buying it, it's the shipping is just double. So like the ruby slippers that I ordered that I just said about, when they arrived, I had to pay another £250 just to get them to my house. So it is really, really difficult. But I think eBay is the only way. There's some quite nice things on Etsy too. But it's just keeping an eye out, really. Just keeping an eye out, see if the price drops every now and again. Like the Ray Dunn collection, it hasn't actually been released at all in the UK, but I managed to find like 4 or 5 on eBay. They were a little bit more expensive, but yeah. So I mean, it is very expensive. There's no 2 ways about it.
I can imagine so.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Now, do you primarily collect MGM or do you kind of do Oz across the gamut?
So primarily MGM. I do have a few books. I'm a bit terrible with books. I start them and then I just don't finish them. I do have a few Riley and Lee Wizard of Oz books, and a few bits, but it's mainly MGM. Unfortunately, I don't have anything returned to Oz. I'd like to, but but it's mainly MGM.
So I think it's Tori's turn.
Oh, no, go ahead, keep going. You guys are great. I just was, just playing around. I'm just pressing buttons. I'm the man behind the curtain at the moment.
I think my last question is a follow-up question to my first. Do you ever find yourself buying from other countries in Europe rather than from the US? Do you ever look at like MGM things that are maybe in France or Germany or Italy?
I've seen one. I didn't actually buy it, but I actually seen a return to Oz Jack Pumpkinhead from Chile.
Ooh.
I'm trying to think now what I've bought from. I don't think there's many. I think I've bought a couple of things from Spain once. I think I bought a couple of mugs from Spain. I did actually see a mug in Spain once when I went into, like the little gift shops.
Yeah.
I did actually see a Wizard of Oz mug in there. But it's mainly from the US or Canada or obviously Australia. But yeah, it's definitely difficult.
All right, I'm seeing the floor to Tori now.
Okay. So first of all, we are twinsies.
Yay!
The first things I ever got too, so I got a little choked up when I saw you. It's amazing. First of all, I feel like you're my overseas twin. It's so fun.
Yeah, no, it's like
to see your enthusiasm. The Wizard of Oz is really an American staple. So I was wondering, I know you saw it when you were young, but do you feel that it's culturally impacted the UK as much as it has the United States?
No, I think with here, so everybody here gets Wizard of Oz confused a lot with Alice in Wonderland, I find. Yeah, it's not as, because obviously it's an American classic, it's not as big here. I think I've noticed in the last, I'd say 5 years, more and more, we're getting more and more merchandise. There's more and more fans from the UK. But definitely growing up, there was absolutely like nothing at all.
So when did you start becoming an ardent collector? You saw it when you were young, but when did you start really seeking out new Oz things?
Well, I think so. Just after I got that item, we took a trip to Florida, and I always remember the Warner Brothers store in Florida. And I just remember walking in. I think I was probably about 10 at this point, and just being like, oh my God, like, wow, the amount of Wizard of Oz stuff. If I shut my eyes now, I can picture it. And I've still got a few stuff. Can I show you? Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I found my t-shirt the other day. So Mum let me buy a few bits. So I've still got my t-shirt.
Oh my gosh.
It actually still fits me, surprisingly. So I've still got my t-shirt. That was from the Warner Brothers store. And then I've obviously got, I know these are quite popular, my dolls. These were on my bedroom wall ever since I can remember. Obviously Dorothy and Tin Man are starting to wear a bit now. But yeah, I love these so much. They're so like important to me. What else did I get? I've got a couple of key rings as well. They're over there, but I think one's leaking. But yeah, so that, I'd say that probably really started it off. I remember I had some ruby slippers on my bedroom wall as well. But yeah, that probably started it off. The addiction even more.
I got a comment on your beautiful vintage aesthetic that you are rocking fantastically.
Thank you.
Inspired at all by Judy Garland, or is this something you've always aspired to look like?
I think I always liked it. It's only probably about the last 5 or 6 years that I started to dress this way, but I have no idea. I think I just kind of fell into it. It was kind of, I think I had a hip operation, and then after that I kind of, you know, found myself, if you know what I mean, and like my own style. And yeah, so
I feel like collectively we're in a huge moment for Oz between Wicked and the new remake that's been greenlit by Warner Brothers. Do you feel like Oz will have a resurgence in the UK?
I hope so. I really hope so. Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, I really hope so. Like I say, it's definitely getting more popular. I know a few people on Instagram that are in the UK as well now. So yeah, fingers crossed.
And I'm seeing in the comments here lots of people complimenting your look, lots of people saying they love your dress. We're so glad that you're here.
Yeah, I'm so glad too. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's so great to officially meet you. And I just am clicking on something that I didn't mean to. We're going to talk about a little bit a new Wizard Fest, an Oz event that Tori and I are going to be at. That was an accidental click there. But what we have to talk about that's on the tip of everyone's tongue is, of course, Wicked Part 1 coming to theaters November 27th, 2024. Since we last spoke, they changed the date from Christmas time, moved it up to November. That's actually a very good sign for a film. It's a vote of confidence from Universal Pictures and the team behind it. And then John M. Chu, director, released our reveal of a first look at Elphaba and Galinda in the movie. We see here Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, and it's amazing. I mean, I think that it almost looks like a painting, or it's not real, or it's something that is just, created. It's so incredible, I think. And of course, Glinda we see here too, which is great. And what I love about these is they are teases. And so we kind of got a little bit, but not too much. We see the back of Elphaba. We see Glinda from afar, no real detail, but it was enough to really get us excited. And then it all hit the fan, right? There were all these leaks and surprises. And of course, we see the director cracking down. And he put on Instagram recently that, drones and other footage, it's not okay. So we don't want to see things that are actually leaked. But what has been revealed and released from reputable sources like Entertainment Tonight are some closer looks at Glinda's dress, which is fantastic. And, we see it here where she's singing No One Mourns the Wicked. Some close-ups also, Ariana Grande. And we can certainly discuss what we heard, because I know we all can't have avoided it. I was guilty. There's that whole, and I know, Tori, you've been dispelling it on your Oz vlog, at the Oz vlog on TikTok. But when I first heard it, I too thought that she was singing to a Kristen Chenoweth track, because it sounded so right, so musical theater opera, which is, I know, something we talked about when we first announced that Ari had been cast, that we didn't want to hear her pop style, her breathy, and she I didn't think she would. And then there she is, serving exactly what I expected. And yet it was so good that I thought it was Kristen, which I think is a compliment to, I mean it as a compliment to her. She sounds like an opera singer. And that's absolutely her. What do you guys think?
Well, the Daily Mail released some more audio the other day of No One Mourns the Wicked at the end when they are dancing around an effigy of Elphaba. They light it on fire, and Glinda is the one who tosses the torch and then walks away. And you can hear, I have not posted, and please, guys, be careful. Don't post any of this audio anywhere. That's really what Universal is attacking right now on social media. But you can hear that she opts up like Megan Hilty on the good news at the end. And it's fantastic. I have spent a lot of time arguing with people about the fact that it's not Kristen Chenoweth. Kristen Chenoweth, of course, was her mentor, and she has trained a lot with Kristen Chenoweth, so it doesn't surprise me that she sounds similar. She has said that she would like to pay homage to Kristen while also doing her own thing, which Kristen talked about a lot on the Kelly Clarkson show this week. So I think we're going to see a lot of hat tipping to Kristen Chenoweth and the Glindas who have come before. And I really did not realize this until I started talking about her. There are a lot of people that have genuinely negative feelings about Ariana Grande and are kind of rooting for her to fail. And I think that's where a lot of these rumors are coming from. So don't jump to conclusions, listen, watch, and get accurate information.
I really don't understand the haterade. I think, you know, it's an adaptation. Things live as they are. I mean, everybody has a right to their own opinion and stuff, but you really have to wait to judge it for yourself, see it. We're seeing it in a way that it's not really meant to be seen. We don't know what effects, sound effects, visual effects, colorization effects, editing, all the rest of it will make what we're supposed to see. You know, I almost, wish we hadn't seen, I can't not look or hear anything that's leaked because, I'm just absolutely obsessed. But I think it would be so amazing to have seen that, like a close-up of Ari in that makeup and that with that wand and that crown for the first time in the film, actually, or in the trailer when it's released. Speaking of the look, though, I wanted to ask you, Zoe, what you think about this, because you do a lot of dressmaking, you do a lot of cosplay, you do a lot of professional costume wearing as an actress and as an Oz performer. I know you do the witch, you've done the Scarecrow. I haven't seen you as Glinda yet, but what do you think of this costume?
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'm such a fan of Susan Hilferty's designs. I understand that when you make the transition from stage to film, you can't always keep the original design, especially with Oz now having to become such a tangible, realistic, fully fleshed out place. They can't do some of the costume designs that worked on a bare stage. Well, it's not really a bare stage, but with the cogs and gears, the very representational stage. So I hate to see Susan Hilferty's designs completely thrown out, but I understand why that's necessary. I think going with pink is a very bold choice. I mean, obviously the general consciousness of the world tends to think of Glinda as being pink, but Wicked has really solidified her as blue. So it was kind of a jarring transition, but I know they're probably also trying to harken back to the MGM film, just enough for that recognition, but not enough to get sued.
Yeah.
The skirt is really fun. I have to say, I really like the texture of the skirt. It is reminiscent of the petals on the blue dress. I wish that there was more going on her shoulders and her neck. Like I loved the high collar that was not attached to the dress that she wears in the Broadway show, as well as the unattached puff sleeves. I think she's just looking really bare up there. Like no necklace, no collar, no sleeves. So I would like to see that fleshed out. I think my biggest complaint, though, is going to be the crown and the wand. The crown looks very off the shelf. Now, some people have pointed out, and I'm wondering if this is the case, that they may go in and enhance it with CGI so it's shimmering and maybe even looks like it has like stars radiating off of it. I would love it if they do that. Right now, it just feels very toddlers and tiaras. Someone actually on Wizard of Oz Collectors United did say she is serving toddlers and tiaras right here.
Wow. I love it. What I like about it is that I like that it's more MGM. I think I always go back to that aesthetic. Even visually, what I liked so much about Oz the Great and Powerful over Return to Oz was how bright Oz the Great and Powerful was, and the bits on the Yellow Brick Road as Wizard, Finley, and China Girl are walking, like seeing all that saturation of what looks like Technicolor. It looks like we're primed for that here with the Yellow Brick Road that we see, and with her in pink, there's that, we know that this takes place or happens around the time that the house has fallen and the rest of it's going on, and somewhere in juxtaposition. That's how I think Tori, astutely pointed out, it looks like Linda's got the grimoire here. This must be as she's approaching to sing for good with Elphaba, and I think that that's really interesting. And the crown, I think, looks more like Billy Burke's. It's kind of going in that direction, Yeah, I mean, it kind of, I feel like for me, it brings enough of everything in, but it's got to be a challenge to be that designer and still put your own stamp. You're going for your own awards there, your own aesthetic there. You want to make it your own, but also pay homage and please all of us and all the people who've done, from Billy Burke to Kristen Chenoweth. And Laura, what are your thoughts?
I think she looks absolutely phenomenal. I am a bit shocked that they've gone for the pink. But I do absolutely love it. I love her bubble underskirt, that little hint underneath. I'm just really excited now to see what Cynthia's going to look like. I'm really, really want to see what Cynthia's going to look like.
I agree. Yeah, that's cool. Let's talk about Cynthia, because we see her here, and my biggest question is, I'm dying to know the shade of green for her complexion, because of when Oz the Great and Powerful was made, Mila Kunis, they couldn't have it the same color green as what Margaret Hamilton did because of Warner Brothers and that sort of Disney there. So now we've got Universal dipping their toe in the green Wicked Witch. There was some talk about, and Cynthia confirmed it's makeup on social media, because there was some talk about them CGIing her green, which I think would be ridiculous. It's been done so successfully on stage with Wicked, but I wonder if they're just replicating what we see in the stage. How's that going to transition? It's just, the hair, there's also, right, you guys, there's talk about the hair, because we see here that she might have a shaving her head moment at some point, because here she appears bald in this Wicked poster, this Wicked Witch Beware poster.
Well, I'm not convinced she's bald, because in that first shot, we see that it's pulled back in a low braid. So if she's got the hat on, then you wouldn't see what's underneath. I would actually be all for a head shaving moment. Spoiler alert, guys, if you don't want to know anything about the Wicked show. But in the second act, when she's singing No Good Deed, what an amazing feminist moment it would be if she was just tearing things and shaving her head and being like, forget it, I'm done.
Yeah. I think the host of Scentmen Pod referred to that too and reacted brilliantly in the moment as they were covering these images and stuff. And if that were the case, that would be quite dramatic, and quite a new look. What do you think of Munchkinland here? It's quite an overview that we see.
I'm just so glad they went with practical sets rather than CGI worlds. I think that's one of the places where Oz the Great and Powerful failed, because it's all fabricated and that the actors are reacting to nothing. It doesn't come off as genuine as it does when they're walking through an expansive set like this. Now, of course, this has created problems because there are drones flying overhead and locals coming out with their cell phones to film sounds. But imagine the experience of these performers walking onto the set for the first time. It must have felt like walking onto the MGM soundstage.
I agree. Yeah. I really prefer real sets, tangible sets that you can see and that the actors can interact with. There are some shots where you see that there are blue things laid in certain areas, which, I mean, a little enhancement is great, but to actually see what the actors are interacting with is actually there. That's a big deal. I think they did a beautiful job blending John R. Neal with MGM here. So it's not too MGM. I'm worried about them getting a little too close to MGM, just because MGM's got its time to shine. I want something a little bit fresh. Also, I hope they don't shy away from the darkness of the Broadway show. I'm hoping that shows like scenes like March of the Witch Hunters and all that still have that deep, saturated blue darkness to it. I don't want to see that completely thrown out.
Well, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say that. Oh, go ahead.
What I was going to say is that we saw last week that a casting call was put out for young Nessarose, a 4-year-old. They're looking for a wheelchair user. So we are going to see flashbacks of Rush Margins during Nessa and Elphaba's childhood at some point. They're going to work in more of the Maguire novel, which is inherently a lot darker. So I think it's safe to say we're going to see a lot of dark themes.
Yeah, and I think that because it's expanded into 2 parts, and because we see some of the new casting being Shiz people, we're going to see more, I think, play into the political theme and tone of the animals who should be silenced, seen and not heard. I think there's going to be more political reaction. That whole theme and how Elphaba is blamed for the mutilation of the monkeys. I think it's all going to be the animals versus which thematically is a metaphor a lot for what happens to many marginalized communities in our real world. So I think that's going to weigh larger. I also have a bold prediction I want to make in a little bit. But although we talked earlier about John Chu's warning not to record, Laura, you live an hour away. I'm not asking you to record. I don't think you should, but you're not far from Buckinghamshire. How tempted are you to just drive by?
Yeah, it would be wonderful, but I don't know if I'd dare right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I would just be driving by. Just me
just constantly
sending love and positive energy. No, it's so good. We saw Jane. Go ahead, Zoe.
Oh, I was gonna say I had one more question that I wanted to get everyone else's pulse on. The choice to move No One Mourns the Wicked from the Winky Country to Munchkin Land. How do other people feel about that? I thought that was an interesting choice.
I think it's vague enough in the show where it takes place. There's really nothing distinguishing when they start the show where they are. It's a very bare set. We see the clockwork going on in the background. There's a lot of projection, but there's really not a lot of hint of where they are. So I feel like they could have set No One Mourns the Wicked literally anywhere in Oz and it still would have worked.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, I think I just embracing myself for so much newness, so much change, just an adaptation. And so I'm trying really hard not to be jarred. It's hard. It's difficult. It's a challenge sometimes when you have a connection to something and expect something and then it's different, but we also don't know. I mean, look at what's happening with the Harry Potter series where suddenly they just announced they're doing a 10-part series on HBO, which I don't think anybody wants, to be perfectly frank. Even, people that are still not fans of J.K. Rowling, but seem to be fans of the material don't even seem to want that. So it's going to, the point I'm trying to make though, is beyond this 2-part film, we have no idea what the next and how soon another adaptation or a series could be made, or still a non-musical version adaptation of Wicked and Maguire's work and stories and how faithful those could be. I mean, that could come to HBO or another network in the future, and how delightful and amazing would that be? And we should all be in it.
I would caution everyone, do not go into this expecting a copy-paste of the Gershwin musical. It's not supposed to be. It's a film adaptation, and the medium is the message. The medium of film does not work when you immediately translate a something that was designed for stage and put it on film. It's going to have to be narratively.
You mean the Broadway stage musical, which you saw at the Gershwin Theater? Right.
So what I'm saying is, don't go into the movie expecting to see what you're going to see when you sit down in a theater to watch it. It cannot be that, because that exists in real time on stage, and then it ends and then it's over. So every show that they do live is a once in a lifetime experience. This will be something that will stay and needs to be timeless and needs to be adapted. So be patient, be cautious. Don't go into this looking for it to be the same thing. It just can't be.
Good announcement. And before we move on, let's just move on from Wicked. But I just love how our witches are reveling in this time in their lives. Just today, about an hour ago, Cynthia Erivo posted this. Again, they are into the all things Oz. That she says she loves being a witch. We've got Margaret Hamilton, Gail Sondergaard there. They're doing their own deep dives and research. Ariana Grande also today, harkening back to MGM, some Ray Bolger love there. And even, again, so as you mentioned, John R. Neal and some real Glinda as described her, and that looking a lot more pink than red in the choice of this upload. But still, I think it's really beautiful to see that they are really, really just enjoying and immersing themselves in the Ozness of this whole process. All right, up next, there are some new huge Oz stage adaptations happening, beginning with The Wiz coming back to Broadway. Wiz, right? WizMusical.com. It's going to be returning to Broadway, first it has a pre-Broadway national tour starting in Baltimore this fall, and then spring of next year, there's limited Broadway engagement. They haven't announced any casting yet, but if you follow them on Instagram or head over to the website, you can see some of the creative team. I want to get your opinion about this, but first want to share that the OG Dorothy from The Wiz, Stephanie Mills, made her feature film leading lady debut in a Lifetime movie called Pride, A Seven Deadly Sins Story, which premiered last month, or earlier this month rather, and is available to stream now on Lifetime. And she was gracious enough to give me some time to talk about that. But while I was talking to her about her performance in Pride, you know, I had to go here. I got to ask you a couple.
You have your Wiz shirt on. I see it.
You know, The Wiz is coming back to Broadway in the spring of 2024. You,
Yes.
of course, originated the role of Dorothy in The Wiz,
Yes.
and then made history as Aunt Em in The Wiz Live. And now that it's coming back to Broadway, and if you had to choose, would you be Glinda or Eveline?
I would be Glenda. I would be Glenda. Yeah, I would be Glenda. Yeah.
I could see that. You know, we actually met once before. I attended the
Yes.
event for
I
The Wiz.
remember that. Yeah.
It was
When we
really
did
fantastic.
it at the theater.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
And this is you gave me a Glinda moment. Take a look.
Believe what you feel and know you're right, because the time will come around when you say it's yours. Don't cry.
Oh my God.
Don't
Thank you so
cry.
much. It's amazing. Thank you so much,
Okay, you're
Stephanie.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
That's when we did a press day.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
so much fun. And I have to tell you, on the rainy days, Stephanie, I put that clip on and I have you singing that to me and hugging you, and it gets me through the dark moments. And so because you gave me life then, I have to ask you before we wrap here, can you give me life once more and give me a couple lines from Ease on Down the Road?
Oh, ease on down the road. Come on, ease on down the road. Don't you carry nothing that might be allowed. Come on, ease on down the road.
Oh, thank you so much. You are-
welcome. Oh, thank you so much. I enjoyed this.
Oh,
I want her to write a book just about whatever she is doing to keep herself forever youthful.
Yeah.
She knows
honestly,
she has not aged.
not
Her
a bit.
voice is still stellar. So I want to know whatever routine she is doing to keep her voice in that pristine shape.
Right? And like Judy Garland and Kristen Chenoweth, she's still so petite. I feel like she could be Dorothy again. You know?
But I would love to see, a lot of productions have kind of taken from the RC and done the dual role of Aunt Em becoming Glinda, because Aunt Em is such a small role in The Wiz. So I would love, and Glinda kind of is too, considering she only shows up for the end. So I'm like, somebody cast Stephanie as Aunt Em and Glinda so that we can all go and give all of our money to this production, because that would be just the best thing in the world for those of us who were too young to see her in her last live stint, which was the 1993 national tour.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm honestly going to give them my money either way.
Yeah.
It's been so long since The Wiz has had a big national tour, and certainly on Broadway. I mean, this is long overdue, and I'm so excited. It's such an important piece of stage magic. It doesn't get shown enough, and I'm really excited to bring my family to see it.
Yeah, the show is so much better than the movie, and as is evidenced with how they did The Wiz live, it'll be interesting to see if they do, for the first time in a stage version, the Michael Jackson song as they did in The Wiz live, or if they do the original Scarecrow song from the show, which I hope they do. I like that song. I know, Laura, you only saw the movie once, but maybe we could all in New York and see it together on Broadway and buy all the merch together.
Perfect. That'd be perfect. I'm actually in New York in December, so I'm so gutted it's the following year.
Come back.
Yeah.
You can always come back.
I'll come back.
Well, keep an eye on where
That'll
the
be
tour,
perfect.
maybe the tour will be in like Connecticut or something, and you can just
Just travel around.
see it all.
I'll be up for that.
I love that the show is kicking off in Baltimore, because that's where the out-of-town previews for the original Broadway production were. So I
Right.
kind of love that repeat of history.
Yes,
Now,
definitely.
hopefully they don't get a closing notice like they did in Baltimore.
Oh, God. Don't even say that. Don't put that out there. Wiz
Hey, but
musical.
the original survived it, so
Yes, whizmusical.com for more information and to start looking at tickets when they're announced. Up next, Laura, this is perfect for you, not as much us. I mean, it's perfect for us, but this is happening all in the UK. It's Oz musical. I love this logo. It's the first time seeing Oz all done with the rainbow. It's Andrew Lloyd Webber's version is being revived June 23rd through September 3rd at the London Palladium, wizardofozmusical.com for more information. Then there's going to be an exclusive UK tour, December 13th through July 2024, and possibly beyond. Christina Bianco is going to be Glinda. She recently played Glinda in another production. And again, that's wizardofozmusical.com. Laura, are you going to get to the Palladium to see it?
I am. I've booked for the 23rd, so opening night.
You already have tickets?
I was straight on getting them tickets.
Oh my goodness. Will you maybe take pictures like or go early and like, FaceTime us, so if there's any merch we want, we can, know you and
definitely. Definitely. I was a bit too young to see the last one when he did it in, was it 2013, I think? I can't quite remember. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Are you familiar with like at least the recording and the new songs that Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote for it?
Not too familiar. I remember, I don't know if you guys seen, they did a program on the BBC called Over the Rainbow. I did watch that before he, did the play. Yeah. I did love that.
Daniel Hope. Daniel Hope is so good.
But yeah, it's going to be a big night. So
yeah, definitely. Well, it'll be exciting. Can we have you back on? We're not wrapping the show yet, but can we have you back on after you see it to give us your full review? And then we also all discuss once again what we think of the new changes that Andrew Lloyd Webber made to the show, which we're going to So I challenge you, Laura, don't listen to any of the new songs or anything. Go see the show and experience them and let us know what you think of it. Zoe and Tori, any thoughts about this production?
Well, the Lloyd Webber version, I kind of feel like I need to go with the if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all kind of thing. I will say I love Red Shoe Blues, so I'm glad to hear that song will be getting another outing. It's probably about the only original song from that production I like. I know I'm always the negative one. I would have liked to actually seen Andrew Lloyd Webber come up with an entirely new score and not use the MGM score or MGM book at all.
I agree with you, Zoe. I loved Danielle Hope in that role. She was fantastic. What a range and what vocal control at such a young age. But Andrew Lloyd Webber's new songs stick out like a sore thumb. And some of the characterization choices about how they decided to have the characters interact with each other felt very unkind and felt very out of character. So for me, it just felt like a case of Andrew Lloyd Webber not understanding the source material, but the performers gave it their all. And I agree, Red Shoes Blues and the ending song, Home is a Place in Your Heart, are two songs that I think were winners. It's just some of the other choices were quite unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree. I still would see it if I could. If it ends up coming back to the US, I'll see it at some point. But yeah, I prefer either the Royal Shakespeare version, or I would have liked to have seen, like you, Tori, said, that would have been a great idea, like you did with Bad Cinderella. Do your own retelling of The Wizard of Oz, your own adaptation. All right, let's move on to some merch here. There's lots of new merch, beginning with its Warner Brothers 100th anniversary. They're releasing a lot of stuff. What I think is interesting about this is a lot of the stuff is stuff we've seen before, available through Bradford Exchange or Ray Dunn and other things. They do have some original things. For example, I bought this mug that seemed relatively new, but it was done really poorly. It's printed quite blurry, but I just liked it because it's a cute, image and Toto front and center there. But the printing of it isn't very good. Tori, I know you got something new from this collection as well.
I've got a lot of new things from the new Warner Brothers collections that they're releasing. So let's start with the WB100 car. This is a Hot Wheels car with the characters from Looney Tunes dressed up as the Oz characters. This was available at some Walmart stores, and you can definitely find them online. Also, something they're selling through their own Warner Brothers shop is the new McFarlane Toys Movie Maniacs Wicked Witch of the West figure. Buyer beware, this figure, while beautiful, has a really crucial design flaw. The broom is too heavy, and a lot of these are arriving with the right arm detached. I ordered 2 to give 1 away, and one of them came with the arm fallen off, and I saw a lot of people posting online the same thing. So buyer beware. They say they're limited to 10,000 pieces, but a lot of people have had to order replacements. So I don't know if that's going to cut into the final number of things that they have available. But if we could veer, are we ready to veer away from WB 100, or do you want to keep looking at WB stuff?
No, we're ready to veer away from that. I know I've got some things to show too, and I want to see some merch that Laura has and Zoe has too. We've got some new things. Laura, what do you want to show?
The 100th merch, I'm not able to get any because I don't think Warner Brothers shipped to the UK, but I did manage to get the Dorothy Toto Funko, and I have the Wicked Witch on pre-order. So hopefully mine won't be broke when it arrives.
Yes, hopefully.
My most recent purchase is this one.
Oh, nice.
I've been after this for a long time. I know it's been out quite a while, but yeah, I love this book. What else did I buy?
Do you have a favorite thing in your collection?
I think probably my ruby slippers now are my favorite of mine. With the collections, I tend to, if I can't afford a whole collection, I tend to always buy the Scarecrow first. So I do have quite a few Scarecrows. I've got a couple more of the bendy figs as well. I'm just looking around my room and see what I've got.
Yeah, no, it's all good fun stuff. And I have some things that I just got recently. There was Wiki Workshop on Instagram, and she did some great brooches. You know, I always like to wear pins on TV, and usually Oz ones, even if they don't coordinate or something. But her Ozma, I thought, was adorable. It's so great to have a Dorothy and Bellina. She did a cool Powder of Life, and some of these she doubled with as necklaces or earrings. This is exquisite. Jack Pumpkinhead. Some of these are still available, and she may also still be able to make some more. Zoe, what do you have today?
Well, I don't really get a lot of new stuff, so I'm going on the vintage pile here. So I got some really neat stuff that people may not have seen very regularly, but I'll make it quick. One is this trade ad for the original 1980 VHS release, which also has a, hold on, my image is mirrored. Which way do I need to go? A prototype of the 1980 VHS tape. Notice that it uses the font from the first edition of Wonderful Wizard, which I thought was really interesting. I wish they had kept that choice. I've been on a Japanese kick. He's not here yet, but I just got the Japanese Heart and Heart TikTok action figure, the one that's, you know, just like this big. Snagged him for $22. So keep an eye on internet auctions. You can sometimes get a deal when people don't know what they have. Also from Japan, I got the Meko album.
Oh, cool.
Japanese. Ryan, you're going to appreciate this. The original cast album in Japanese.
No way.
And it is the Stephanie Mills recording. It's just the packaging is Japanese.
Very cool.
Also, because I love this cover so much, and now I've got it in Japanese.
That's awesome.
And one more thing. I love showing off my toys. I upgraded my broom again. So
wow.
So nice.
Now if I could just get my hourglass here, you know, we'd be ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, when are those icon replicas shipping? Does anybody have that yet?
Well, so mine actually isn't the icon replica. So I actually bought one of the full scale from Hourglass Connections. The unfortunate issue is mine was completed and ready to ship. And unfortunately, David, the wonderful man who ran the company, passed away. So now it's just kind of trying to work with the estate to be like, okay, how do I get it? Do I need to fly to Oregon to get it? Because I want it so bad, I would do that.
Of course. Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. Yeah, no. Well, hopefully keep us posted when that arrives. Tori, what else do you have today?
So a couple of other fun new items. Pear Eyewear, which is known for their magnetic frames, put out an entire line of Wizard of Oz frames. I've got a few here to show you. So I went with the gingham frames. We also have here a pair of Emerald City frames, and you can get these in your very own prescription, and they ship that to you. There is the Emerald City frames. And because I'm a girl who also likes to be on the go in the sunshine, some ruby slipper sunglasses. So these are great. And of course, you can wear them just black if you have a more somber occasion that you need to wear them to. But who doesn't want to rock some gingham eyeglasses? I get compliments on these all the time. We also
I'm
have
so glad you got Pear. Before we move on, you know I'm a fan of Pear, and I've been wearing them. I think the last time when we were all together, I think Zoe and Tori and I think one of the last times we were all together, I had this pair on at one of the events we did in Indiana, because I'm a Pear fan, so I had the darker gingham, but I also got the Oz ones. They also came out with a Wicked version, which is kind of cool. It's got Glinda and Elphaba, and it's very Wicked because it has the clock. They have a poppy field. I went for the whole collection. They did a really cute poppy field. This one's called Over the Rainbow, that was actually released before their Storybook Oz collection. This one's no longer available, and they are retiring this Storybook collection soon. So if you want to get some Oz glasses, this is Glinda's Bubbles, it's called, and blue for Glinda's Bubbles in honor of the stage adaptation of Wicked. Before I show you my favorite pair, this one's called the Emeralds of Oz, which is really fun. I wore this recently to work and I got a lot of compliments. And this is my current everyday. I only really wear contacts when I'm on TV now, but my everyday glasses are these. It's called the Cast of Oz. And what I love about it is it's all interracial. So it represents, everyone, and productions like The Wiz and The Wizard of Oz and beyond. And there's just so many Totos in there. I just have to wear them every day. So these are
It's so cute.
So there's our little plug for Pear eyewear. All right, Tori, back to you.
So World 11 Games also made a Tin Man Loungefly bag.
He's so gorgeous.
This is gorgeous. And one of the things I heard was, oh my gosh, I wish it was his whole face. And then look at this. You open it up and there's the rest of him in there.
Wow.
And this came with a really unique feature that some of the other bags did not include. And that's a coin purse, which has the Tin Man's clock heart there. Not a working clock, unfortunately. That would have been above and beyond. And then it's got the quote on the back. No, I know I've got a heart because it's breaking. A very nice tribute to Jack Haley. Look at those blue eyes. So like him. I hope we get all of the characters. And then the last thing I wanted to highlight is something that I haven't heard a lot about. This is an independent company called Elizabeth Wade Studio. I've never really heard of them before, but they make tea towels. And I bought two so I could open one up. It's a kitchen towel with the entire Land of Oz on it. It's super cute. If you didn't want to use this, you could even frame it. That's how beautiful the artwork is. It kind of takes you through the MGM film, MGM-ish, I'll say, because it's certainly not an official Warner Brothers piece, but I really liked that. And again, that was by Elizabeth Wade Studios. You can find them on Instagram.
Love that. Love that. Laura, I know you're a fan. Do you have any of the With You workshop? Because you wear a lot of the jewelry pieces too,
I've got them in my hand right now. So I managed to buy two. So I bought this one and I got the Jack Pumpkinhead earrings.
Ooh!
But they're so gorgeous.
Cool. Show the necklace again. I love that. The Mombi's heads. That's
the
awesome.
Mombi head.
I wish I had gotten that. I didn't get it initially, and it sold out so quickly. And now I'm like really sad that I didn't get it. It's Kylie does it. She has her shop on Etsy and on Instagram at Withy Workshop, and she has I think coming this Friday a brand new line of all Wizard of Oz stuff that we're all really excited about. So I wanted to give her a plug. And before we sign off, I just wanted to share lastly that you have the chance to come out and hang out and spend some Aussie time with me and Tori. We're going to be announcing some other friends and special guests soon for a weekend in the Boston, Massachusetts area. It's actually in Oxborough, Massachusetts. It's going to be August 25th through the 27th. And head over to newizardfest.com to learn all about it. It's different than previous Oz events that we've been involved in the sense that this is actually an annual Comic-Con that takes place on the East Coast and is being run more like a Comic-Con, and programming, and especially Oz programming and inclusion, is somewhat new for them. And I'm excited because it's kind of in all things witches and wizards. So there's going to be some Hocus Pocus coverage and Wizard of Oz and Lord of the Rings, and we're all just going to get to come together and do stuff. And we'll be announcing soon some other special guests that will be joining us. So hope you can make it there too. Any last looks or things from anybody else? We're all good. All right. Well, then I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Laura, thank you so much for joining us live from the UK, where you're in a completely different time zone and world, not far from the making of Wicked. Again, you are at Miss_Ruby_Slippers on Instagram. So be sure and follow her. And then I'm going to send it over to Zoe to tell us all about the Oz Club, who sponsors our show.
Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. Sorry, I wanted to get that in there.
Hey, you're a guest co-host, so we have joined you today. That was absolutely appropriate.
Joining me. Thank you for.
You're owning it. You started as a guest co-host, and now you're the host.
Oh my
God. We're hoping you'll join us again anytime. All right, head over. Zoe, why should we join the Oz Club?
Why shouldn't you join the Oz Club? That is a much shorter list, and it's short because there's nothing on it. There's no reason not to join the Oz Club. If you are here because you love Oz and you love hearing about the latest Oz news, as well as doing deep dives into the history of the world of Oz, then you need to be a member of the Oz Club. And signing up is so easy. You just go to ozclub.org. There is a big button to join today and become a member. There are several levels to choose from, each with their own perks. You can join for as little as $35 for an adult membership, or I believe it's now $17 for a youth membership. I think our president is watching, so she'll correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But you need to join because there are so many wonderful things. You get the Bomb Bugle. You've got access to an exclusive online fan community, a sorting quiz to find out what part of the land of Oz you belong in. And we have live events throughout the year, both in person and virtually. This summer is coming up really fast. So although we are not having a Oz the National Convention this summer, because we will be having our board meeting on the West Coast, we invite you all to join the Oz Club as we participate and support our friends at OzCon International. So I hope to meet a lot of you this summer at OzCon International. I'll be debuting a new Wicked Witch costume that is not MGM. So if you want to see what that witch is going to be and what world of Oz she's from, you're just going to have to come to the convention. So go to ozclub.org today, get signed up, and then immediately go over to OzCon International to register for their event. And we will see you this summer and right back here for Oz Talk. Thanks.